Hello and welcome to Sports Today. People who know me generally know that I come to a show structured. Today I haven't. I will do a lot of things on the show, and I have promised you, I've tweeted multiple times, I will do all of that. And of course, do our special series, History at the Ageas Bowl. Look at anecdotes, look at stories. We will play clips. We will build up to the World Test Championship final in Southampton. We will do all of that. But trust me, this is not a structured show, and there are reasons. All of you might know now from social media that Chetan Sakaria, Rajasthan Royals fast bowler, has lost his father. And obviously, thoughts and prayers and sincere condolences with Chetan's family at these times of extreme grief and sorrow. Uh, you know, Having lost my father in 2000, I can tell you something, and I wasn't able to see my father for one last time because I couldn't come back to India on time. My sister had to do the last rites. I can tell you something. I mean, and if you aren't able to sort of see your father for a last time, if you are not able to do what you think as a child, and today's Mother's Day, so to all the mothers, all we want is to keep you safe. Every child will say the same in the country and in the world. We want you safe, and then everything's fine. You have given us everything. The little that we want to give you is to keep you safe. So when Chetan Sakaria, when it is about his father, the whole thing is he's lost his father. I mean, no one, this is inconsolable grief. Inconsolable grief. He will forever miss his father. There's no debate. But if he wasn't able to get his father treated, imagine the guilt that Chetan Sakaria, who's a cricketer, world thinks he's a hero, would have felt. Imagine the grief. And believe you me, intensive care unit costs, ICU costs are not easy to bear. They aren't cheap. ECMO, ICU, just go take a look at the costs and you will know what I mean. And it is an unequal society. We all know that. Chetan Sakaria was able to do this to his father, to be able to treat his father at least to the best of his ability, because Rajasthan Royals had made a part payment. And he's on record in that interview to the Indian Express that for others, IPL may be something, but he was able to treat his father to, to his satisfaction with the money that he got from the IPL. So my point is, and today, if you see, the Rajasthan Royals have already tweeted, have come forward. They are his support system. Each one of us needs support. Each one of us at these times of crisis, of negativity, of gloom, needs support. And Chetan Sakaria's support system is the IPL and the Rajasthan Royals. Now, my question to each of those people, which includes some from my own profession, I could have named them here. I was in two minds to name them. My colleagues have told me not to. My question to each one of you, the IPL, even if it is one family, the Chetan Sakaria family, the IPL has enabled him to do something that every son, every daughter would want to do. It is livelihood. And there are many like Chetan Sakaria who are even poorer. That carpenter, that LED board drive, sort of technician, that scorer, that groundsman, that technical person, the back end, the sports media fellow, anyone who works in the fantasy sports industry. Now in India, every second family has a COVID patient, and you need money to treat them. Some of them, and there is a report today that every fourth patient is needing hospitalization. Now, these people, based on the IPL, was earning their livelihood. So these retired journalists, each one of you have your pensions. Each one of you have your children settled. You people are hypocrites of the highest order. You are a disgrace. You people, and I can name them as I said, you people, and you know who I'm talking about. You guys know who I'm talking about. You people are a disgrace to the sports journalist fraternity, the sports media fraternity, for having said what you said, that it is a festival, it is an entertainment, it is razzmatazz. No, it is not. It is about the Chetan Sakarias and the ecosystem who will use that money to procure oxygen, who will use that money to get medicines, who will use that money to go save their families. So, you fools, you people, you are a disgrace. Each one of you should actually come forward and publicly take your statements back, because you know what you are. You've benefited from this sport, and now that you have nothing, you are actually doing a disservice to the future generation of sports journalists. And you know who I'm talking about. It's so, I feel repulsed while even talking about you people on broadcast. And that's what I meant, that I'm glad I'm glad there was a Rajasthan Royals to stand by a Chetan Sakaria. I'm glad that we had the IPL, that this fellow could get at least the money that he has to treat his family. And there are thousands like him. As I said, I mean, this is not a structured show, so I need to move on. Otherwise, uh, I do not want to spend too much time on these people who have done a disservice to our profession. Coming to the Aegis Bowl, coming to the history at the Aegis Bowl, first let's dwell on the Indian batting order. A lot of people have been saying, oh, Shubman Gill is not in form. Shubman Gill has not done much since that series against Australia. But you know what? I still think Shubman Gill, along with obviously Rohit Sharma, the great Rohit Sharma, the way he batted in that series against England, and we all know the 100 that he got in Chennai was actually instrumental in winning India that particular test match and turned the tide in favor of India. India went on to win 3-1. Rohit and Shubman will open in England. And from what we have seen of Shubman in Australia, as long as he can get it in the head right, he can get it right and not take too much pressure on him, Shubman should be fine. He's technically equipped. He's a good batter. He's a solid. His technique is solid. He has all the strokes. If you've seen the way he attacked Pat Cummins, the world's number one bowler in Australia, you will know what I mean. We need a good Shubman Gill, a Shubman Gill in a good mind space. So the best man, according to me, the batting order has to start with a Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma. And obviously 3, 4, 5 we know, Cheteshwar Pujara, Virat Kohli, and of course Ajinkya Rahane. That should be the top 5, and with Rishabh Pant at number 6. There's no two ways that this will be India's top 6 come England, unless there is an injury concern of any sort. So this is our top 6. So what about Shubman Gill? How does he get it right? As part of our launch, the 1971 book, Start of India's Cricketing Greatness, Sunil Gavaskar said this about Shubman Gill and about youngsters, what they should do. The conversation between Mithali Raj and Sunil Gavaskar. Take a listen. Trisha, can you play what Sunil Gavaskar said on Shubman Gill and the youngsters?
See, all these names that you mentioned are all tremendous players. They've got, as far as talent is concerned, no question about it. When you see the ease with which Shubman Gill was stroking Pat Cummins, and Pat Cummins was bowling quick on Australian surfaces. The way you've seen, say, Mayank also play in Pune a couple of years ago when he got that big 100 against the South Africans. Then the South African commentators at that stage in India were Sean Pollock and Graham Smith, and both of them said this looks like a Centurion pitch, the pitch in Pune, where the ball was going off quite nicely, and he got a big 100. So they're all, as far as technique, etc., is concerned, they're all very good. At the end of the day, I think you've got to. I've always believed that it's temperament that separates the men from the boys, and if talent and temperament are married, then and it'll always turn out to be a good marriage. There'll never be a problem between talent and temperament if it's married. And all that they really need to do is to believe in themselves. There are times when you get the feeling that they are not very confident of themselves. That maybe they're having self doubts. I think those self doubts are natural in a young man's life. These are natural. These are periods where you start to think, well, do I really have it in me? I had a period after that 1971 tour. For 3 years, I didn't get 100. For 3 years, I mean, we played a couple of series in between. I did not get a century, and I think I barely got a couple of half centuries in that period. So for me also, the doubts were creeping up.
So there you heard the greatest Sunil Manohar Gavaskar talking about the issue. Let me tackle another question. So I've given you my batting order. I will take questions and see if you have any differences with me there. But for me, it has to be Shubman Gill along with Rohit Sharma, and then obviously Puji, Virat Kohli, Ajinkya Rahane, and Rishabh Pant. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for India. Now the key question: should India play two spinners? Should India play two spinners and three fast bowlers? Is that going to be our best combination in England? I actually think we should. I actually think we should play both Ash and Jadeja, because Ravindra Jadeja, with his improved batting prowess, is as good as any batter on current form, whether it is Hanuma, whether it is Washi, whether it is anybody at number 6. Ravi Jadeja, from what we have seen in Australia, from what we have seen in the recent past, he's as good as any batsman. And we have seen what Ravichandran Ashwin can do in that test match, which he and Hanuma Vihari saved. And obviously, there is no question about Ravi Ashwin's quality as a bowler. And if the track offers something, and the Aegis Bowl track, the Southampton track, had it been July, I would have said yes, absolutely will. But even June, if the summer temperatures go up in the UK, if the summer temperatures, and in the last few years we've seen UK had pretty, warm summers. If there is something in the wicket with bowlers' footmarks also in the second innings, Ravindra Jadeja is always a handful, and he can keep one end tight. If the fast bowlers need a breather, Ravindra Jadeja can come and bowl the 4, 5, 6 over spells, keeping it tight without conceding too many. So if I according to me, India does go in with two spinners. India does go in with a Ravindra Jadeja and a Ravichandran Ashwin, and then obviously the three faster bowlers, which we discussed yesterday. So according to me, the team, the first 7 at the Aegis Bowl should be Shubman Gill, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, Cheteshwar Pujara, Ajinkya Rahane, Rishabh Pant, Ravichandran Ashwin, and Ravindra Jadeja. That's what, according to me, is the top 8. And then the 3 fast bowlers, because you will need 3 fast bowlers in the UK, and we have a solid crop of 6 that are going. So that's how I think the team is shaping up. Before I go into our special segment, History at the Aegis Bowl, and I tell you stories, which I will, I actually had a long conversation with Dr. Shamshir Vayalil. Dr. Shamshir Vayalil is the head of VPS Healthcare. VPS Healthcare was BCCI's medical partner in the United Arab Emirates during IPL 2020, and it was a very educative conversation with Dr. Vayalil as to what exactly they got right as part of the bio bubble in the UAE, and what are the learnings from that particular bio bubble. That interview is on Sports Today. You can go ahead and see it, but I will play a clip from that particular interview with Shamshir Vayalil, what the BCCI got right along with the healthcare providers in the UAE, and what obviously we did not get it right this year. For sure, we did not get it right. So, what are the lessons from the UAE bio bubble? Here's the man who helped put it together. Trisha, if I can have that clip, please.
So, I think when the whole discussion of IPL in UAE started, we were getting prepared from then, because we were doing these sports events, on-site medical management, for the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years. We did some mega events, we did Formula Ones, we did Dakar rallies. But the whole concept of event medical management has changed post-COVID. We are all in a very new environment of, and the concept of the biosecure bubble has taken a center stage. So first of all, we wanted to set right. So we had been working out on the SOPs, the complete methodology of how to do this, and alongside the BCCI and alongside the regulators here. As you know, we have a very strict regulatory environment in United Arab Emirates, where the COVID fight has started pretty earlier on, and we had a peak before it peaked in India, and we were ready with that presence of mind to see how we would be making sure that there is no breach, because we knew that the entire onus will be on us. And so in that aspect, we went to the extent of training the staff because we have a lot of Indians, nurses, we had different nationalities working on this project. We were giving them the complete freedom of doing things. We were training them, we were giving them the moral support, because we know that they would be facing with a lot of the gods of cricket, and we were giving them the confidence that come what may, do your best. Don't even have any no compromise at any stage or any course of action. So we did a lot of things on the books, off the books. We were on the ground. We set up a command center. We wanted to make sure our responsibility was not just conducting the tournament. Our responsibility was till the players leave and go back to their houses. So we took on the challenge quite differently, and everything worked out the way we wanted.
So there you heard Shamshir Vailil on what they got it right in the bio bubble in the UK. Let me take some questions before I go into our special segment, History at the Ages Bowl, and give you two fascinating stories today. Let me take some questions. Okay, so again, thank God, there are plenty of questions. Boria, any replacement for middle order batsman? If something happens, yeah, plenty. Mohammad Adil, you've got Hanuma Vihari, you can play an all-rounder in Washington Sundar. You have plenty of replacement options. You have a KL Rahul if he gets fit, provided you want to try KL in the middle order. You're taking him as an opener. But obviously, Hanuma Vihari is your specialist middle order batsman who can also bowl. So definitely. Why India is not producing mystery spinner? Boss, everybody's mystery is decoded after a while. Be it Sunil Narayan, he doesn't even play test cricket. Rashid has played very limited number of test cricket, but Rashid is a phenomenon. He's a tremendous act. Ajanta Mendis, if you see after that 2008 series in Sri Lanka, he got hammered. That first series, Virendra Sehwag 201. Other than that, nobody picked him up. But from the next year onwards, Ajanta Mendis disappeared from the scene because his mystery got decoded. If India don't go with two spinner, then Shardul may be preferred. Correct. But Shardul, I don't think India will go in with four. Uh, Only if it is a complete green top, etc. Then Shardul may be preferred because he can bat as well. But Ravindra Jadeja and Ravichandran Ashwin gives you that kind of variety. He can come using the only thing is we don't have a left arm. We don't have a left arm. Had there been a left arm, it would have been better because the footmarks could have been used better. But New Zealand will probably have a left arm, and we know that. And that footmarks can also be used by Ravi Ashwin. So, and if you take a look at that New Zealand attack, there are a number of left-handers as well. So Ravi Ashwin will be superb, and obviously Ravindra Jadeja for the reasons I've told you. Sen Tendulkar. Abhishek, I would prefer if you do not try and act smart, because this is a platform which is a serious platform. This is not some rubbish sporting platform that we will pass snide comments, and this is not a platform to sort of be flippant and be stupid. What you are doing by posting these comments, you are portraying yourself as an absolute jerk. Why do you want to portray yourself as an absolute jerk in front of the world? If I read out the comment that you have, you will be unnecessarily castigated and trolled by everybody. Why do you want to tell the world with a tag on your chest saying I'm an idiot? Don't do this. Nandini Ghosh, please do an interview with Abhimanyu and Avesh. Good point, Nandini. Absolutely will do. From being dropped in 2018, featuring in WTC's World 11, Rohit Sharma. Rohit is a terrific act. Rohit is a terrific act. I have tremendous amount of respect for Rohit Sharma, and I've said this to you guys several times in the past. The way Rohit went with that hard quarantine in Australia, the fact that he went there, and every single day in that hard quarantine period, I used to be in touch with Rohit in Sydney, and we would count down. Both of us would count down. It had become my ritual that I would get up in the morning. Australia's 5 hours ahead, to give Rohit a call and have a chat. And he knew that he would have no practice whatsoever going into the third test, and he was willing to risk his reputation. Why? Because he wanted to play test cricket for India and give it back to the game he loves, and that's what he does. Rohit is a superb act. He's an absolute superb act. Why India not produce mystery spinner? I've answered that. Sachin, don't spam. Boria sir, who will be the X factor? Plenty. Rishabh Pant, if you've seen, has already been the X factor for us in the recent past. I mean, Rishabh Pant gets going, he can change the game in an hour and a half, exactly like an Adam Gilchrist used to do for Australia. Is an absolute X factor for India. Virat Kohli will always be that X factor. The bowling attack that you have, India is a superb team. Sachin, Chaudhary, make no mistake, buddy. India is a fantastic team. Andre George, such Varun is there now. Nandini, I've answered that. Abhishek Shah, whatever you're saying, I can't make sense of it. Uh, Nitish Kumar, yes, we want him to score big, but even if he doesn't, then we must watch him in England test as it would be his first opening test. Absolutely. No one can commit anything. But if you see the resilience of Rohit Sharma and the mental strength of Rohit Sharma, you've got to say that you've got to give him a chance. And Virendra Sehwag did score. If you see 2002, at that point in time, Saurav Ganguly gave him an opportunity. He went and scored, whether that 100, whether that 80 odd. He was superb. There is no reason to believe why Rohit won't. India not playing a wrist spinner will harm them. Manik, no. At this point in time, Ravi Ashwin is in tremendous form, and his confidence level sky high. You've got some really good fast bowlers. If it had been the Kuldeep Yadav of 2018 in that confidence level, maybe you would have thought about it. But Kuldeep's batting is also an issue. Ravindra Jadeja, a complete package in the field. Think of the Steven Smith run out and you will know what I'm talking about. I think this is a very, very good side. Green room, with all due respect, rub my nose so often. Good point. Inadvertent, shouldn't. Is KL Rahul fully fit? Not yet, but should be. Should be by the time the Indian team goes to England. KL Rahul should be fully fit, and he should be he is your backup opener along with Mayank Agarwal. But KL can also bat middle order like he has in the white ball format. Though in the Test match format, they are still considering KL as an opener. So Shubman, Rohit, Mayank, KL. We've got 4 openers, and 5 test series in England is a pretty long series. It's a 2.5-month series. So you need that kind of batting depth as well. Who's this? Rushikesh Ujjainkar. If India don't go with 2 spinner, then Shardul. You've said that. Desai. Okay. I've answered Nidhish. Your Arzan and Abhimanyu interview. Andre George. Yes, good point. Arzan and Abhimanyu. Both youngsters, backups. We will try and do interviews with both of them. Definitely good point. We will. Okay. Parthi Desai, Mayank Agarwal can open with Rohit. Yes, but if you see Mayank's form in Australia and then what Shubman did, don't go with Shubman's record in the white ball format. I still think India will prefer Shubman Gill for a start, because the way he batted internationally in Australia under pressure, debut series was extraordinarily impressive. So I do think India will go in with Shubman, but Mayank will definitely be your backup. And if Shubman doesn't fire in the Test Championship final or in the subsequent games, then obviously Mayank will come in. In a big series, that is why you have the backups. Plenty more questions, but I think I need to come out of this now and give you more stories. There are many more questions. Will India play any practice matches? They will train. And that is why the big squad, so that there are intra-squad games, which will allow them to get into shape. So from around the 12th of June or even earlier, if they are allowed to play during, which they should be, because it's a bubble-to-bubble transfer, they should start playing intra-squad games. So they will be ready. India will be ready. That is something that we can absolutely say. India will be ready. Hanuma should open if we play 2 spinners. Interesting idea, Hibangshu Mahajan. Hanuma should open, but where has Hanuma opened except that Boxing Day Test match in in Melbourne? In Australia, that was the only time in 2018-19. He's not opened recently. So all of a sudden, he has not played after that hamstring injury. To get him to come and open in the World Test Championship final when you have taken 4 openers, don't think that's happening. If ABD is coming back, then why can't Suresh Raina? Suresh Raina, on current form, do you see him as part of the... Suresh is a very good friend, but I don't think on current form he makes the Indian team. Because if you see the Indian team, whether it's a Surya, whether it's a Rishabh, whether it's Shreyash who will come back, and by the way, I was in touch with Shreyash. He's doing well. I will get Shreyash on Sports Today end of May, by which time his rehab would have taken off big time. So we will get Shreyash Iyer on Sports Today. Had a chat with him, and that's our plan. So these are the guys who have taken Indian cricket, that spot that Suresh used to have. So I don't think Suresh can really stake a claim for that Indian spot. Hari Prashant, what is the plan for next 40 days? you know, what are you saying, Hari Prashant? They have the 5 test series in England. That's why they're going. And that's the whole point. That is the entire point. That's the, team is going early. Players, what was that? Shobhagya Raut, please give us players interview. What do you mean? Please give. Oh, you mean put it out here? Absolutely, put it out here. So that's I will put it out there. It's pretty long show already. Let me come and give you 2 stories. This is one story I love. In the West Indies in 1971. Why am I saying 1971? I'll spend quite a bit of time as part of this series history at the Ages Bowl on 1971 because it's the 50th anniversary, and that, according to me, Indian cricket's overseas journey really started in 71. We did win in New Zealand in 67 under Mansoor Ali Khan Pataudi, a series that Erapalli Prasanna thinks started it, but even Erapalli Prasanna sort of 1971 is 1971, beating England, beating West Indies. And in the West Indies, you know what used to happen? So under Ajit Wadekar, there was this culture of the team meeting. There was this culture of the team meeting which would happen every day at 6 p.m. in the evening in Ajit Wadekar's room. Now, Eknath Solkar and Sunil Gavaskar were the 2 guys from Bombay who were close to Ajit Wadekar. Uh, you know, Eknath Solkar and Sunil Gavaskar were the 2 guys from Bombay who were very close to Ajit Wadekar, and they would be present even before the team meeting started. Now, if somebody was late, Ajit Wadekar wouldn't start the meeting. He would actually tell Mr. Gavaskar and Eki Solkar to go and fetch that person. So whoever the player was. So they would go and fetch that person from, either his hotel room or from wherever he was. And once they got him to the room, Ajit Wadekar would mock, scold Mr. Gavaskar and Eknath Solkar. Why are you late in the meeting? What happened, etc., etc. And they would be totally surprised and shocked that why is he telling us? And then after the meeting was over, once Mr. Gavaskar actually asked Ajit Wadekar that, we were on time. What is the point? I mean, why are you sort of venting your anger or frustration on us? We were in the meeting on time. And then Ajit Wadekar said to them that, look, what I can say to you and Eknath Solkar, because you guys are very close to me, I can't say to some others, but the message has to be conveyed. The point has to be made. That is why I blamed you for coming late. But the person who, is responsible definitely must have understood who it is aimed at, because I do not want a single person to miss this team meeting. And that is why I did what I did. So that is what one anecdote that Mr. Gavaskar told me. I love that anecdote. 1971, a Vishwanath, a Vishy sir story. Vishwanath was with Farooq engineer, Gundappa Vishwanath, very hard fought 33 in that Oval Test match. After Ajit Wadekar was run out at the start of day 5, there was that partnership between Vishwanath and Farooq engineer, and that brought India to the doorstep of victory. And just when India was at the doorstep of victory, 3 runs to go, Farooq engineer walked up to Gundappa Vishwanath and said, do not try to hit a big shot, just get singles and finish it off. And Mr. Vishwanath, I mean, and hats off to him for telling us this. I mean, look at the man's generosity. He said, I all of a sudden thought Farooq engineer is wanting to hit that final winning stroke. And I thought, why don't I clear it? Why don't I hit a boundary and win the game for India? Forever it will be Gundappa Vishwanath has hit the winning runs at the Oval in the all-important test match, winning us the all-important series. And he says, I played one of the worst shots of my life and got out. It was caught, it gave a catch and was dismissed. And he says, when I was walking back, that is when it struck me and it dawned on me what Farooq must have meant. He did not mean that I shouldn't play a big shot because, he wanted to hit the shot, but he was keen that we close the game. And I forever have coaxed myself, why did I play that particular shot? Gundappa Vishwanath is a legend. I mean, my respect for him. When he told me, I was like, he could have easily not told us the story. And, everyone wants to show him or herself in great light. Here is one of India's greatest telling us this. And he said, once he was walking back and Abid Ali was passing, he realized that he had lost the opportunity. And incredible. The book is replete with these stories. That is why I keep saying history at the Ages Bowl. History was scripted at the Oval. History was scripted at the Oval for the first time, 1971, 50 years, full circle. Can we do it at Southampton in Hampshire? And incredible, isn't it? That's where cricket was actually started at, by the Hambledon men, broad halfpenny down. I visited the place when, that pub when I was in Southampton during the World Cup in 2019. We'll play out those photographs and the videos that I had taken. But that's about it for today. Some great stories from 1971 as part of our special series, History at the Ages Bowl. That's what Indian cricket is all about. We will celebrate our famous victories, our famous personalities, our cricketers, and keep building up to that great World Test Championship final, which can well be Virat Kohli's first ICC trophy. Please support Sports Today. Plenty more coming your way. Do watch the Shamsheer Wailil interview if you want to know intricacies about the bio bubble. Plenty more questions. I'm sorry, my time has run out. As you can see, it's a 30-minute past show already. Thank you very much for watching. I'll come back tomorrow with plenty more and obviously take questions, discuss with you. Tomorrow, we will talk about, we've already discussed the batting order, whether we should play two spinners. We should also talk about the Indian fielding, the slip catching, because it was a major concern in Australia. We will also delve a little bit about what the Indians are getting right in terms of the fast bowlers. Think, we had a Kapil Dev, gap, Zahir Khan, gap, Javagal Srinath, gap, Zahir Khan, gap. Now we have a crop. What has changed in Indian fast bowling? Bharat Arun, with his insights, he's given me a long interview for my book, which is audio recorded. So I will tell you what Bharat was saying about what has changed as far as the Indian fast bowling is concerned. Thank you very much for watching and keep supporting Sports Today.